Greetings, everybody, and welcome to another episode of TBH To Be Honest. I'm Dale Honeyghan, and I'm here with another special guest. We have Mr. Wilhelm Lecky. Wilhelm, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm in good health in such a time like this. Give thanks.
Yeah, man, that is good. I've been trying to get you on the podcast for quite a while, but finally we're here and able to do it.
True.
All right, cool. So the first thing, this is what I asked everybody. So first thing I want to know is, who is Wilhelm Lecky?
Well, I am the simplest person you could know. I'm just a human being, a young man who is willing to follow the Lord's leading. I go by my conviction as I see it and understand it at any given moment in time. And if that conviction leads me on a road to walk alone, I will walk alone, irrespective of who might be offended or, probably might interpret it another way. I really mean not to be offensive at any time, but it seems I keep running into those issues. I believe that people must move by their strong convictions at any given time, and I believe that we can disagree respectfully. There needs to be no quarrel and no fight. I've been on the front line of the gospel work, let's put it that way, from the age of 17, and that has continued consistently, uninterrupted, though there have been some issues along the way, whether we want to say with me and a certain body of people, but that has continued uninterrupted until this age of 34, and I don't plan on stopping. I think that is my purpose, to enlighten and to uplift as it pertains to the word and truth. I believe in absolute truth. I know we live in a time where, people have different convictions and there is this age of relativism, but some things are absolute, and I'm of that conviction.
You said you're drawn, you started at the age of 17. What drew you to start being at the front line of gospel work at that age?
Well, Dale, I was never born in any church family. All right. I didn't come, my genesis, I didn't see anybody going to church, not mother, not uncle, not cousins. And so I have no church background, but I had a curious mind. And my mind led me to revelation. There were many people when they were young who were afraid of, what you call them, werewolf, vampire, all those dark stuff. Unfortunately, I had an attraction to it. I would laugh instead of being scared. And then revelation came into view. These things with 10 heads and 7 horns and beast and eagle. I'm like, man, this looks like a scary stuff. So I'm interested here. And that piqued my interest and began to lead me into that line. I tell you, what many people wouldn't know, that I didn't begin as a Seventh-day Adventist. I was first Catholic. That's where I started. And then I went from that to New Testament. All of those things about speaking in tongues. Yeah, I went through those phases. And then came Seventh-day Adventism. I came into the Seventh-day Adventism church through friendship evangelism. So my friend who brought me in, we were friends from high school, and we used to represent the school in cricket. And so, I was in the Sunday church at the time, New Testament, Catholic, then New Testament, and he was searching. He wasn't settled in any church. He was searching, and then he began to study. And one time I saw him, and man, he began to break down, guess which book? Revelation. And so that was like a magnet. And that was the genesis.
So we're friends on Facebook, and I see your posts a lot of the time. And I see his posts on Seventh-day Adventists and, true Seventh-day Adventists. So tell me, what is the heart of Seventh-day Adventism? Who is a true Seventh-day Adventist?
Well, I believe that names have meaning. That's why they exist. Black, white, male, female. And you ask, who is a Seventh-day Adventist? Let's start with the name. Seventh day. All right. That's as we know biblically. the encyclopedia, history, languages across the world. The seventh day, no doubt, is what we call today Saturday. The Bible call it Sabbath. So let's start there. These are persons who observe this day, Saturday, Sabbath, that the Lord has blessed. All right, that's a superficial start. Let's go a little deeper now, and then Advent, which we say Adventism or Adventist from the word Advent, which means looking and expecting and awaiting the second coming of Jesus Christ. From that now, Dale, we can push the roots deeper. Now, how does one look for and wait for the second coming of Jesus? Now, Psalms 51 verse 5 says, we, including you and I, and every other human being, are born in sin and shaped in iniquity. So from the very moment that the doctor cut the umbilical cord, Dale, you and I have a problem. And that issue is sin. And we talk about nurture and nature, all right? Nature is what we are born with. And we get certain inherited tendencies from mommy and daddy. That's why you, they look like that and I look like this. It's because if you would look at your father and your mother, you'd see some features, but it's not just physical features you got. There are inherited things that you have inherited, ways. Some might be good, some might be bad. All right, that's the nature. And then we have the nurture. The nurture is the environment. You are an educated man, and you well know, Sir Honeyghan, that a certain environment can bring a certain character, or it can suppress a certain thing. It can make you good, it can make you bad. It does have an effect. And what we have in our lifetime, in our age today, and we've had it for a long while, is the Bible. Is the Bible. All right? Basic instructions before leaving earth. Bible. You ask who is a Seventh-day Adventist? A Seventh-day Adventist, true and in fact, is one who follows, live by exactly as the Bible writes it. I like to call that the blueprint, the manual, because a Seventh-day Adventist, remember, is one that keeps the seventh-day Sabbath that God is blessed and is expecting and awaiting the second coming of Jesus. Now, can you await the second coming of Jesus and live anyhow, eat anyhow, dress anyhow, listen to any music, mix in any group, paint up today, not paint up tomorrow, be in the left, be on the right? This cannot work. If so be the case, Sir Honeyghan, heaven would just be like hell, or rather a second earth, because that's what earth is about. It's mixed up and the lines are blurred and we have male, female, and everything in between. But heaven has made the line clear. It has made the line clear, Sir Honeyghan. There is no left and right. In the Garden of Eden, there was just male and female. There's just lion and giraffe. There's no mixing. God don't mix. There is night and there is day. There is the sun and there is the moon. There is water and there is land. It doesn't mix. And God wants that to be clear cut. It's either we live earthly and go where that leads us, or if we're heading to glory, we have to follow the principles. 2 John 2 verse 15, it says, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. So these are not my words, this is the Bible. It says, any man that love the world, these are not my words. The Bible says he's an enemy of God. And then I could take the whole day into the night today, Sir Honeyghan, and break down what it means to love the world. All right. So I don't know if you got the answer in my explanation as in my, as we would say it, probably my opinion, if you want to put it that way, what I see as a true Seventh-day Adventist. And so I make those posts for people to think, not to make enemies, but it does that. Truth is not popular, but it is still truth.
We're gonna delve into some of these topics for sure, but I also see that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I see that you have, let's say you take issue with a lot of what the organized church is doing, whether the leaders or the pastors. Can you explain that to me?
All right. I have been a Seventh-day Adventist. I came in the church August the 23rd, 2003. From 2004, or let's say Well, I've been preaching from 2004, but as it pertains to crusade, you know those crusades we used to have under the tents and stuff.
Yeah.
I've been doing that from 2007, and my last one was 2017. So I did that for 10 years straight. And we're talking about 20 plus crusades across the island of Jamaica, all conferences except in West Conference, and one even in Toronto, Canada. So I want to start there to say I am in love with the church. I am a Seventh-day Adventist indeed. And if you go back and check the history, people will tell you, I've always preached, people call it hard preaching, but I just call it truth preaching. I've always done that. And so I've always stood on the line of right and truth. You say I take issues, your statement, right, with leadership and so, but I've been working with these men for years. So why is it that of the latter end of it all, even to now, I have seemed to morph or take on this, as some would say it, antagonistic behavior, as some would look at it. But let's go back to what I said earlier. I am for truth. And so if you're my friend or not my friend, or whoever you want to be, the Prime Minister, Barack Obama, if you're not in the line of truth, and if you're promoting evil or error, you and Lecky going to have a problem. So you're asking why against the issues with the leaders? That's it. Listen, Dale. When you stand in the pulpit and you preach, people believe. Because people follow leadership, you know. That's a fact, you know. You have an influence over a group of people and they're going to follow your Dale. And if you're leading in the wrong path, then these people blood going to be on your shoulder. I am just the man on the side saying, look, stop. All right, let's take the issue of health, Sir Dale. I don't partake of flesh, all right? Because we know why, all right? There are still some people who, they believe that the best diet is Genesis 1:29, fruit, nuts, and grain. That's God's ideal. And we are clear, it's clear, whether you're a doctor or not, what is happening with flesh and meat and cancer. It's clear. We cannot deny that anymore. But we also know that there is a literal struggle, what people are used to from their young, and the taste and the niceness. And so some people are transitioning. All right. Let's say I wasn't fully transitioned and I was still partaking of flesh. Let's say that. Would it be right for me then to go on the pulpit and, because my life is like that, preach my life? Or rather, should I preach the truth and the standard? Here's where I'm going. I am still pressing on the upward way. Now, Sir Dale, you go there and you preach and you say, if a man want nyam him or eat him or eat whatever, eat it. But remember, you know, next week now or next month, a conviction comes to you. Watch me now. And you cannot turn from the conviction that I must change. So you know what you do? Your life change now. You know, you stop partake a certain thing, you know. Let me ask you a question. What about that congregation you preach to? And what about that one man or woman who sat down and listened and said, yeah, man, it's true. Me hear some people say, boy, I change the diet. But pastor, yes, pastor, eat your thing and eat your thing. It's what you have left on his mind, which is not the ideal. And now you have changed. No. What if you present the ideal? I see you want to speak. Let me just close up here. What if you present the ideal, which is according to the Bible and the testimonies of Jesus Christ, right? You are not there yet, you know, but you present the ideal. You have presented the standard of heaven. So you won't be guilty for those souls that are listening, because they now heard the standard of heaven and they have to strive towards it. Not your life and your standard, you know. You know what you're struggling with, but you don't come in the pulpit and preach that. And I'm just giving you a simple example of just one situation. There are other, but you know.
Okay.
That's
so let me ask this, because you opened up when giving your definition of an Adventist, speaking about, you know, we follow the Bible and its teachings. Can we say, biblically speaking, that partaking of flesh is, and you didn't say this, so I'm asking, is it a sin?
Right. No, where you're going. All right. Good question. So let's deal with it intelligently.
Sure.
God has a standard. Before there was sin, sin started in Genesis chapter 3. All right. God gave his standard for diet. This is before sin and before any sickness, and there was perfection. Yeah. And God said fruit, nuts, and grain. Vegetable wasn't involved, you know.
It wasn't.
A lot of people don't realize, you know,
It was not.
after the flood, vegetable came in. And as a doctor and a scientist, I can tell you that the vegetables and the greens, they consist of a lot of healing properties. And I can understand from that basis why
After the flood or after the fall? After the fall.
The fall. Good,
After the
good.
fall.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
After the fall. Good. And I can tell you why God in his wisdom did that. Because sickness would naturally come and we need healing.
Yeah.
All right. All right. You ask the question if it is sin. Let's start here. Sin is disobeying anything God says. Would you agree?
Yes.
Even in the slightest, God says this and you do otherwise, that is sin.
Mhm.
All right. We're not getting into the eschatology and the theology. We're not doing that. Very simple.
Mhm.
God says something, you do otherwise, it is sin. All right. When the flood was coming on, Genesis chapter 6, that's where we reach. And Noah is preaching, and the animals, Genesis 7 now, and let us fix this today, Dale, because even today, some people still making a mistake. The animals didn't go in 2 by 2. The clean went in by 7. That's what the Bible says.
Yeah.
And the unclean went in by 2.
Yes.
So if it was the pig is going in by 2.
Mhm.
But if it is the ram goat, and we know what tells us what is clean and unclean.
Yeah.
You can go to Leviticus 11.
Leviticus, yeah.
All right, good. So if it is the goat going in, it would be 7 of them going in. All right. Who gave the command after the flood that man may partake of flesh, clean flesh?
Mhm.
Who gave that command?
God.
All right, very good, God. Remember, we started by saying anything God say and you do otherwise, it would be sin. Remember that definition.
Yes.
Very good. So God gave the command to partake of clean. So the question is, Sir Dale, then what if a man is partaking of chicken based on the guideline in Leviticus 11? Wouldn't that be considered clean? Correct. So if God command to do that and I'm doing that, then why is it a sin? Very good question. But we're going to go deeper. Now, Sir Dale, when God says the clean, what was given in Leviticus 17, 16, 17? Did God give a way of preparing the clean meat? I'm asking you.
I don't know the exact verse, but I'm assuming it's where blood and fat was not to be partaken of.
Very good, very good. So no blood and no fat. Do you have a slightest idea why?
I don't recall. I think the reason was given, but I don't have it off the top of my head.
All right, that's all right. So fat, let's go a little science, because we deal with the Bible, we deal with good science, all right? And then we deal with the testimonies, which are the spirit of prophecies. All right. I am a scientist, I'm a medical doctor. I want to make that clear. Means I finished 5 years at UA, I finished the MBBS, I am in receipt of a degree. I've not collected it yet. I'm a medical doctor by that standard. I'm not actively working now in the hospital, but I'm a medical doctor. All right. Now, I've been doing science. I did a degree at NCU, and that was in biological science. In high school, I love science. I do science for all of my life. Now, I can tell you there are 2 types of fat. There is unsaturated. This comes from your plant base, all right? And there is saturated fat, all right? The saturated fat, this comes from your meats, all right? Now, there's 2 things there. It's called high-density lipoprotein, HDL, and low-density lipoprotein, LDL, all right? In common language, all right? Don't want to go too much science, but in common language, we call HDL good fat. And in common language, we call LDL bad fat. Now, do you know what the bad fat does? It clogs up your arteries. And this doesn't happen by eating KFC today, your artery clog up tomorrow. No, man. This is overtime, Sir Honeyghan. A lifestyle, I'm practicing it. You can get what you call atherosclerotic disease. That can lead to stroke. That can lead to hypertension, heart disease, and the list goes on. Now, let me ask you, Sir Honeyghan, you think God in his divine wisdom knew all of this?
Yes.
When God says, take out all the fat, the blood, let's work with the blood. What do you know traveling blood, Sir Honeyghan? It starts with D. What do you know travel? The disease. It travels in your blood if you're sick. It travels in the animal blood just the same. God said to remove all the blood. Now, I'm going to ask you a question now. Remember, we're going with God's command. If you do otherwise, it is sin. God says remove all blood and all fat. Now, let me ask you, is there any flesh? Let's use flesh. You know, I'm using flesh because when the Bible uses the term meat, it is not referring to flesh. Meat means food.
Yeah.
But when it's talking about what we call meat, it says flesh. All right. Is there any flesh you know on the market that has followed God's command? All fat remove, all blood. Do you know any flesh on the market that has followed that command?
Where I am, or specifically Jamaica, because I.
Okay. All right. You can do Jamaica and then where you are. I don't know where you are.
I don't know of that happening in Jamaica. I don't know of that. I've never seen that. Where
so there is one in Jamaica, and I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
All the fat has been removed and all the blood. Probably you could guess. What do you think it is?
I don't know.
It's a part of the national dish. What is our national dish?
Oh, it's saltfish?
Saltfish has no blood and no fat. Right. You know why? You know, saltfish is coming from those cold countries. Distances to come to Jamaica. If there's even an inch of fat in it or blood, what's going to happen to it?
Very well, just spoil.
It's going to spoil. So they have to make sure they remove exactly every single fat, every single blood. And they store it by the drying method in brine, salt, water, and it comes salty, and we call it saltfish.
Okay.
And if you have cooked it before, Sir Dale, you know you have to soak it first and boil it. All right. When you finish soak it and boil it, have you ever tasted it that time? It's like tasteless.
Yeah.
You don't really have no taste because you know what is giving it the taste? The salt. But when you get off all the salt, it now no taste. You know why? Because it's been koshered. The Jews know that principle, removing all the blood and the fat. No,
which is why I spoke about where I am, because a lot of Jews.
Right where you are.
Yeah.
A lot of Jews. Where the Jews get that principle from?
From the Bible.
The Bible.
Right.
Good. So it must be kosher. That's God's command. And God's command is to preserve the health of the temple. What is the temple? The body is the temple. Follow me now. So, you know, when the saltfish get back the taste, when you cut up your scallion and you cut up your pepper and you season and you bring back the taste. So you ask me a question. Is it sin to partake of the flesh? This is my answer. As long as one is following the command. But Sir Honeyghan, you know we're not following the command. When one goes to KFC and buy a bucket, that's not following the command. With all that fat, all that oil, sometimes you're even tearing it, you see blood on the bone. You see what I'm trying to say? When you go and you buy your beef, and you go and you buy a food at the side, and you buy a nice oxtail, consisting of all the blood and all the fat. You know what also gives the meat its characteristic taste? Uric acid. You know where the uric acid is found? It's in the blood. That's why when you're frying it, the blood is coming out of the chicken. That is not God's command. So let me ask you a question. God gave a command, we just walk through it. Now, if you go away from God's command, is that sin?
I would say yes.
So here's it, Sir Honeyghan. Is there a way to partake of flesh that follows God's command? Did we just go through that?
Yes.
Yes, the Bible says you remove all blood and all fat. Sir Honeyghan, you see when you remove all the blood and all the fat, the thing is left pale, just like saltfish. And you have to season it to bring back the taste. So this is what I'll say to you. If we are following that, just what God command, no problem. No problem. But we have a problem. You know that now follow. Even if you think about Jamaica, that now follow. Nobody now drain out and take the time, and even those places when you go to Manival, no, those only for food place where you go buy your fried chicken every day and people left from NCU. You know NCU I sell the vegetable food court.
Yeah, man.
All of those things, none of them have been cooked and follow the command. And what is happening? What is happening, Sir Honeyghan? Are people getting obese?
Sickness and
are they getting overweight?
Yeah.
People are getting a lot of heart attack. You can check the statistics of heart attack and strokes and see that it is the highest in the health field. People are dying. You think COVID can come close to that? Not at all. You know what that is tied to? You know what we call it in medicine? Lifestyle disease. Whenever we say lifestyle disease, you know what we really talk about? What you eat. No, Sir Honeyghan. God is willing. The Bible says in 3 John, He's willing that we are prosper. You know the text? He wish above all things that we may what? Prosper, but the text not finished. And be in what?
Good health.
Be in health, even as your soul prosper. So, Sir Honeyghan, you see, I'm not the enemy. I am trying to tell the people, let's go back to God design. Hey, listen, it's me or the man who I try to say, look, me don't want save your money. Me don't want you come later at 40 and your foot get black because you have a circulation issue and your arteries are hard up because of atherosclerotic disease, because of all your 30 plus years of partaking of what God says you shouldn't. Not the pork, necessarily, but you're eating all the other flesh with blood and with fat down, the disease and the tumors in the flesh. And after a while, it breaks down the body.
Let me ask you this though. Let me ask you this. So I take the point, and it's something that I was actually struggling with because I was thinking about the blood and the fat thing. Even recently, I've asked pastors about it. But let me ask you this. There's a verse, and I don't have the verse on hand, but it's from Paul's writing, where I'm paraphrasing, but basically he says, saying, don't judge the man when eating meat and so forth and so on. That's basically saying, if he eats the meat, don't judge him. If he don't eat the meat, don't. Pretty much that's it.
Yeah, so follow me now. Paul was the apostle to who?
He was the apostle to who?
Yeah, you know, it's normally said a lot and it's true. He was the apostle today.
I don't know. Tell me.
All right, fine. Paul is the apostle to the Gentiles.
Okay.
You ever heard that statement before? All right, good. You remember one time Paul had a problem with Peter because Peter was sitting with the Gentile, but when the high state Jews came in the room, Peter moved because Peter didn't overcome the traditional barrier between the Gentiles. And Paul said, "Yeah, hypocrite."
Yeah.
Yeah, because Jesus come for break down the barrier and you're still a try. So Paul was the apostle to the Gentile. Follow me now. Paul was tactful, and Paul understood the issues that were happening in Jerusalem and to give the gospel. Now, if we just take one of Paul's writing, like how you just pick out a part of a text a while ago and try to build our lives and our doctrine on that, you're going to go off. You have to understand in totality what Paul was saying. Okay. Paul was the bridge between the Jews and the Gentile. Remember, one at the time, them have a problem. Them say, should we eat things that are given up to idol? Yeah. Remember the Jews, take out them blood and them fat, Remember the Gentile don't know that truth, Yeah. So Paul said, watch me now, watch me. Paul said, no judge a man by that. Huh? What Paul tries to say, watch me now. The transition of the Gentile. How what the Jews them used to do, brother? The Jews just come and see a man and just condemn them to hell, Just like if I come and see her eat a chicken. It is not Christ-like for me to then condemn you to hell, Dale. But neither was Paul saying in that text. This is a problem, Paul wasn't saying in that text that said, look, if them eat that, make them continue eat it and nothing wrong with it. And that Paul say, you notice what you just say? Paul said, don't judge a man by X, Y, Z. That is not tantamount and equal to saying it is okay and this is the lifestyle and this is the way to live. No, I wouldn't judge you if I see you eating a certain, say, chicken or X, Y, Z, even though you're not eating it according to the command. No, that Sir Honeyghan is the spirit unlike Christ. You follow what I'm trying to say? It is a spirit unlike Christ. I want to add something. We are in 2021. Let's be honest with ourselves. Paul lived at a different time. I would say to you, based on science, even science alone, today we are not eating the same fish that Jesus ate. Can you follow where I'm going? Okay. All right.
Based on pollution and...
What's one of the most polluted places in the earth today?
The sea?
The sea. When they do all the chemicals and the factories, where you know the ship go and dump them out in the sea and all of that, we're having a problem. There's something called bioaccumulation. This is bioaccumulation. The small fish at the bottom eats this thing that's not good. It goes into the fish system. The larger fish eat that little fish. And then the big fish eat that big fish. And Sir Honeyghan, send the people them guard the market and them say the big fish, them say, why? Want the big fish. Yes. And you know what the big fish full of? More toxins than the little fish that the other fish ate, that he ate. We're living in the end of time. What is the message for today? And it's the same thing. I thought you were going to go as well to Colossians, but probably you'd understand that more about judge a man about eating and drinking and new moon and full moon and stuff like that and Sabbath days. Yeah. But we know Paul is talking about the ceremonial services.
Right.
All right. And many people jump on that when they're trying to defend the Sabbath. But we know that don't stick.
Yeah.
But you're talking about the other text now when there was the issue. And Paul also said, but Paul said something else too. Sir Honeyghan. Paul said, if you eat this and it causes your brother to stumble, if you do that and it causes your brother, don't do it. You know that text? Don't do it if it causes your brother to stumble. So what if I join that text and say, but Sir Honeyghan, when I see you eating that fried chicken, you know, that caused me to stumble. You know?
Okay.
I could also draw that to and say, but Paul said, don't do it. But that would not be a correct referencing. But I'm just showing you what people can do with the Bible and how they can twist it. All right, here's where we're going back to Sir Honeyghan. Sin came in the world in Genesis chapter 3. Would you agree?
Yes.
Right. Would you also agree that all of the commands that God gave before sin came in, would you agree that that is the standard that God wants man to live?
That's the idea. Yes.
Yeah, humanity. So there was, I was not trying to offend nobody, but we're just being truthful. That's what your thing is about, TBH, right?
Yes.
To be honest, right? All right. Before sin, there was one man with one woman. There was Adam and Eve. There was not man with man or woman with woman or all of that mix up. All right. All of that came after sin. You know, Sir Honeyghan, you know, some people use scripture to support polygamy. You know, that's a big thing today.
Okay. All right. So let's delve into that now, because that's another, and I've discussed this topic as well. There is God's idea, right? And I'm not in support of it. That's not something I want for myself.
Reasoning.
That's not something I want for myself at all. But what space is there for the things that he seemed to have allowed, right? Because based on my understanding, if something is sinful, God will not tolerate sin. So what is the conclusion we're to draw on the topic of polygamy biblically? All
right. So I tell you already, and this is me responding. My two authorities, and I have never found them to disagree. My two authorities is scripture and testimonies. And Revelation 19 verse 10 says the testimonies of Jesus Christ is the spirit of prophecy. The spirit of prophecy is not limited to Ellen G. White. Jeremiah had the spirit of prophecy, Isaiah. So I want that to be clear. Many times we say spirit of prophecy, we only think about the writings of Ellen G. White. But it's broader than that. The spirit of prophecy was expressed in many different age and through different people. And we can call many names. But one closest to us, of which she died 1915, which is just the other day, is Ellen G. White. And I found many things to agree. Everything, as I've seen it. There's a book called Sons and Daughters of God. I don't know if you know that book. In the book Sons and Daughters of God, Ellen G. White commented on the issue of David and even Solomon. And you know what David and Solomon did? There were many wives. This is what she said. Remember in Leviticus chapter 19, God says, don't do the things of the Gentile. And God also lists some things in it. It talks about marking the skin, and we can connect that today to tattooing, piercing of the skin. And there are many things. These are the practices of the Gentile all the way back in Bible times. One of the practices of the Gentiles as well was polygamy. This is not God's ideal. This is, marriage is between one man and one woman. So that is the definition in scripture. And to do anything otherwise from that cannot be classified as marriage. Matter of fact, Sir Dave, I always reason this, Dale. When God made the first man and the first woman, wasn't one of the ideas was to populate Earth?
Yes.
Now, don't you think, Sir Honeyghan, it would have been better for God to give Adam all 10 wives? Imagine him could get all of them pregnant one time, you know. That's 10 children, or even if one have twin and triplets. I think that multiplication factor is quicker than one wife to one man.
Absolutely.
So why didn't God do that? It's not God's ideal at all. This is what was said in Sons and Daughters of God. David and Solomon, as they began to dwell on the kingdom of Jerusalem, they began to take on the ways of the nations around them. One of the primary things was polygamy. We see it that the kings did it, and we assume that God accepted it, but God never did. God never did. Matter of fact, every single one of them that did it suffered. Abraham, David, and Solomon. They all suffered, and that was to show the sinfulness of it. A matter of fact, it led many of them away from God, and they had to find back their way. When you look at Abraham, you remember Abraham, and you remember Sarah, and you remember Hagar?
Yeah.
This was not God's ideal, you know.
Right.
They were to wait upon God, you know. It was a pagan practice, you know, that Sarah did, you know, to say, go unto my servant, let her have the child on my knees, and that child will be yours. She sent the man for go commit adultery. And Abraham, who should have been the priest, he bowed to her thing. They didn't wait upon God. What did God do? You remember when war started? After the other son came? And God says what? When Sarah came and said, send away Hagar, because it will cause problem. Abraham started cry out and go to God, and God said, listen to what she said, because that was not my plan. You know what we have today because of that, Sir Honeyghan? Tell me what we have today because of that situation.
We have war between Israel and
Palestine and Israel and the Gaza. Palestine, descendants of Ishmael, and the Israelites, descendants of Isaac. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't work out. How many lives have been lost? So let me give you this. I know I'm gonna let you talk. Sorry if I'm talking.
No, man, go ahead, man.
I'm too long when I speak.
Man, I want to hear from you, man.
But let me say this. Don't forget this. The Bible is written as a description and a prescription. Let me say that again. The Bible is written as a description and a prescription. Don't mix them up. Learn when you read scripture what is a description, and the descriptions are for our learning. And learn when you read a prescription. The prescriptions are what we must follow and what God expects us to do. The issues that are recorded about Solomon and David and the polygamy, that's a description for us to learn from it. When God gives us Genesis 1:29, fruit, nuts, and grain, that is a prescription that we ought to follow. So we get them crossed and mixed up. But that's the Bible for me. Two areas. It's either a description to learn from, not to follow, and a prescription, what we must live by and follow through. So that's my opinion on that issue.
I take your points, and I'm not here to defend polygamy at all.
Understand.
I could say though that you may have chosen the most extreme cases.
Okay.
So with Abraham, there was clear instruction that Sarah was going to give you the promised child. And we know Solomon had his thousands of women, and David waited.
Right.
I could look at milder case, I guess from the account, milder cases like Jacob, who had his multiple wives, and I don't know if there was necessarily a recorded issue there, or Samuel's parents. I don't remember his father's name, but he had his two wives. So I'm just
So Samuel with Peniah and Anna.
Yeah.
Peniah and Anna.
And then
Anna
you could
not.
And then you could say that there are still issues because one wife jealous of this wife, and there's still. So I guess there are still, But I was just thinking that.
But remember what I said, all of those situations that you have listed, Israel got corrupted with the ways of the Gentile.
Okay.
So that's what they were doing. It was not God's ideal at all. They got corrupted with the ways of the Gentile. And so all right, let's look at this. Let's look at this, Dale. We are living in a time. You know at one time, those who worship God, it was just Sabbath. As far back as we could go, it was just a Sabbath. The issue about Sunday worship and all of that did not start until the time of the time of Constantine.
Rome.
No, that's history. That's not an Adventist thought. That's history. I want to make that very clear. But how far are we today, Sir Honeyghan, where people have accepted that, and we have so many religions on Sunday? So what do you think? You think God accepts it because you don't see fire, lightning bolts dropping in churches on Sunday? God don't accept it at all. But there are many persons who worship on Sunday that God accepts their praise based on where they are and what they understand and their conviction. Here's where I'm going, Sir Dale. If you were born at a certain time, for you, it probably naturally you would just be growing up and getting 2, 3 wives, God design. But at the time and the corruption that was going on, after a while, sin became normal. We are also living in a time where many sinful practices have become normal. You don't see heaven rolling and light bulb dropping, but I say this to you today, and don't forget it. God will recompense everything. It's just a matter of time. And I just only pray that human beings can wake up. Some won't to understand that. That same book, we need to understand it. Description and prescription. And I will leave it simple like this. All that God wants man to do, you can find it before Genesis 3:15. After Genesis 3:15, a lot of sin got intervened and corrupted, and you have to pick through that after through scripture to know the ideal, But Genesis 3:15, you can find family, you can find diet, you can find the work. What is the ideal work for man?
Gardening, farming.
Yes, farming. Every man should be a farmer. Society has changed, and I'm not saying other works are sinful. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying when you and I can turn paper on a desk and we don't even know if we put something in the ground, we have a problem. You see what is happening in the world? Food shortage is coming. When you have to depend on the market and you have land of your yard, you don't even know if you dig it up and put something in the ground. And all of we eat food, Right now, me there years up on that thing with you soon. Time for me to eat food too. What we have to eat. You see? Everything that God sets out for us, go back to Genesis before sin and you'll find it. The dressing, I dare to short dress starting, you never know. Then Sir Honeyghan, if them sew leaves together for cover themselves, that can't cover me and you properly. A short just start right there, so because the light of God left them. Before they were covered. But then how could they see their nakedness? It have to be that they were so well covered they didn't see their nakedness. But after sin, it left them. Dress reform, that you can find Sabbath reform, you didn't know, right in Genesis before sin. You can find dress reform, right in Genesis before sin in Genesis 3. You can find diet reform, you can find worship, every single thing. After sin, thing get mixed up, brother. Turn confused, people think this right, that right. Just go back before sin and you'll know what is the standard.
All right, back to health.
All right.
Talk to me about this vaccine.
The topic of the century. Let's call it for your purpose, and because you have the gatekeepers there, let's call it the C19. Let's not use the V word.
Okay.
The C19. When I said that, you know what I'm referring to, the same V. I don't want to call it V because I don't think it is V.
Okay.
You got it. Yeah, you got some. You got the BCG. You got them. You and I have gotten several
vaccines.
Of them. Yes, we have gotten several of them. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Let me tell you what a vaccine does in simplicity. I could go into the science, but let me be very simple. When you get vaccine, it gives you immunity. All right, it causes your body to produce the natural antibodies. You have perked the system to say this is a foreign agent. You can have attenuated, which is a weakened form, or you can have a dead. With every disease, Sir Dale, there's an active protein. You keep hearing them using terms like spike protein. Have you heard that term?
Yes.
Right? So with every organism, we call them microorganisms, protein is everything. The color of your eye, that's protein. The color of your skin is protein. Your fingernail is protein. All right. So the microorganisms, they have some key protein structures in them. What science has done, they have taken out that key protein structure. All right. They can either have a live, right? You have what we call OPV. All right. That is oral was polio vaccine, OPV. That's a live vaccine, and that's why you can't give a OPV to a HIV patient, not if their CD4 count is too low, because their immune system is going to be so low. You know what's going to happen? They're going to catch polio. It's a live thing. So you have live V and you have attenuated or dead or weakened. When we get them, Sir D, We are protected. What did I just say? We are protected. All right. All right. We have what we call trial 1, trial 2, and trial 3. Whenever we are going to make these vaccines, all right, they have to go through trials. All right. You have to test them on animals. You have to test them in the lab. The last trial is what you call human trial. And that is why you have the FDA, Food, Drugs, and Administration, and they have to approve these things before they go large scale to human beings. Why? Because you have to test the acute and the chronic effects. If you go on the CDC website right now, they have documented there some of the effects that has happened with this C19. What are some of them? Bell's palsy, that is the infection of nerve 7 that has caused the face to droop on one side. We have cardiomyopathy. We have cardiomyelitis, that is the inflammation of the muscle around the heart. We have heart attack. We have blood clots. These are some of the more popular. There are others, etc., that have been the effects from taking the C19. But Sir Dale, these are only acute effects. You don't see long-term it. May God have mercy on those who have taken, because the long-term is coming. Long-term takes months to years. All right? That is coming. Why I don't call it a V? Because it's not creating immunity. Sir Dale, do you know that Israel is 100% vaccinated? Have you come upon that statistic?
I did not know that.
All right. So Israel is 100% vaccinated. Israel is a country more than any country that people constantly, they are getting what they call breakthrough cases. You know what's a breakthrough case? A breakthrough case is when you have been vaccinated and still you catch the virus, the C19. You're not supposed to be catching it if you're vaccinated. They talk about the many variants, but your body has the immunity and the immune capacity to make and to spot these things when they come in, even if they resemble. All right? Now, virus. Have you ever caught a virus?
Yeah.
I have caught a virus. We know what is flu, right?
Yes.
Yeah, man, one little we catch them thing the deal and you get some warm treatment and you get rub up, you get all the chicken soup, them time there, good chicken soup, right? And you wrap up, not true. And the real thing is after a day or two, you're up again. You know what caused you to recover? Your immune system. The little things that they were doing, the parents that they knew back then, you know what they were doing? They were aiding your immune system to respond. You know what is antibiotics? When you get infected with bacteria, you have different bacterial strains and classes of bacteria. We give you, based on what bacteria it is, you get an antibiotic. It fights bacteria. You have some few antivirals that people, retroviral drugs that people that have HIV might get. But generally, Sir Dale, whenever we catch virus, and we catch it every year, you know, sometimes you catch a virus and you don't know. You know why? Because your immune system is good. All right. Now, I won't judge a person who has taken it. If you ask me personally, I would say don't take it. And the reason why I would say that is based on the science that I've seen that it doesn't protect. A matter of fact, there are mutations occurring with people who have taken it, right? You would ask me then, Sir Dale, do you believe that there's actually a virus? I would tell you yes. Do you believe that a sickness is in the air? I would tell you yes. And then you would ask me, then what is the solution? And I would say, number one, the solution is not what they're giving. Number two, what is the solution? You need to boost your immune system. All right? Have you ever heard of the 8 laws of health, Sir Dale?
Yeah.
Nutrition, what you eat is who you are. Exercise. You know, most of us don't exercise. I know I used to see you put some videos up. I don't know if you've continued of doing some exercise, but it's good. I know you must have felt better. You know, the pain come when you just start, but after a while, you get energetic. And if you're resting and you're drinking your water, you feel stronger. Exercise is good. Water. You know, one of the strongest immune boosters is water. What most of us drink throughout the day, if we are going to be honest, what most of us drink throughout the day, is it water?
Enough people drink juice. All I drink is water. But
water, that's very good, very
people
good.
buy them food and them juice.
Pure juice.
Yeah.
What is the main thing that kills the immune system?
Sugar.
Refined sugar. You know what loves refined sugar too? The big C. What is the big C?
Cancer.
Do you know you can starve cancer cells by getting rid of all refined sugar? People think the most effective treatment is chemotherapy. You can starve cancer cells and shrink them indefinitely by getting rid of all refined sugars out your diet. What was a refined sugar, you know? We're not talking apple, you know, that's natural fructose. And the body needs it. We are talking about the donut. Much how we love donut. We're talking about the sugar where we sprinkle here and put in the juice. We're talking about Coca-Cola. Well, you and I don't drink that deal. We don't drink Coca-Cola. We're talking about the Pepsi. We're talking about, and they're making some juice now when I have nothing in them. You know, you ever look on some of the juice, you can't see through the bottle. It's like nothing is in it. It's just sugar and water, you know. So those things are killing. So when we talk about water, all right? Sunshine. You know the power of sunshine? What you know about the sunshine? Sir Dale, vitamin D boosts your immune system. Have you heard throughout COVID that people need to be taking more vitamin D?
Haven't heard that around? Not that, very rarely.
Right. So people talking about vitamin D. You heard about the zinc? The zinc and the vitamin C. You hear about the vitamin C, right? Vitamin D is very good for your immune system. All right. The production of vitamin D, the reaction of it starts in your skin. You know what starts it in your skin cells? Sunshine. And then the body transports it to your kidney, and there it is finished. All right. Not just any sunshine, Sir Dale, but a sunshine you and a black man between 9 to 12. For the persons who have less melanocytes active, they have a lighter pigmented skin, they would probably go from 9 up to 10 and 11. That starts the production of your vitamin D. Sunshine. Then we go to temperance. What is the definition of temperance? The partaking of what is good and abstinence from what's bad. But can you make a good thing bad?
Too much of it.
Too much of it. So, Sir Dale, we started this conversation on flesh diet and the blood and the fat. And now we're talking about temperance. Temperance is abstinence from what's bad and moderation in what is good. So what would you do with flesh diet? Would you be moderate in it or abstain from it?
Depends if it's saltfish.
So if it is kosher,
yeah.
Even if you could get the chicken kosher, you take out the blood and the fat.
Yeah.
But being that's not the case, and most people know that's not the case, if we are going to be honest, the truth is we should try and abstain.
Yeah, you're right.
If we want optimum health, right? And we know what the greens do and stuff like that. So temperance and then air. How many of us do? Even I am guilty. How many of us every day do air exercises? Which is deep breath. You know what that does? Fresh air into the lungs, goes into your alveoli, freshens the blood, revitalize your tissues, and boost your immune system. Most of us don't do that. And rest. No, let us not start on rest, because if we start there, I don't know if any of us are going to be found guiltless. Because resting is not just that you go to your bed and sleep, you know. There's a certain time you're supposed to rest. Have you ever heard the statement that 1 hour before 12 is equivalent to 2 hours after 12?
Yeah.
Right. You know why? Because the body, serotonin, the melatonin, all of the hormones, they work at a certain time. And one of the things we must not do is sleep in light. Need darkness. All right? Sleep in darkness to start the reactions. Dead cells are replenished. And so the ideal time for bed is actually 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Latest 10 p.m. That means probably you and I are guilty, sir.
Absolutely.
Sir, yeah. So we need to fix that. And rest. If you run an experiment on a person don't rest at all for probably a week and so after a while the body begins to shut down. Rest. And then the final T is trust in God. Let me tell you something, Sir Honeyghan. You know, one of the main things killing off a lot of people today in this pandemic is fear. You know, fear produces cortisol, the stress hormone in your body, which suppresses your immune system. And you know that same cortisol causes and prevents the production of insulin. You know the very insulin is needed to metabolize the glucose that you get from breaking down of food that you eat. And if cortisol is preventing insulin from your beta cells in your pancreas from being produced, then you cannot metabolize the glucose. That's going to lead to high blood sugar, and that's going to suppress your immune system. And then that I ever get the COVID, brother. Probably what I've talked about seems too simple, and people will feel safer in just going and getting a jab. But let me ask you, Sir Honeyghan, what's in that clear fluid?
I have no idea.
Nanoparticles are there. All right, and these things can travel through your heart muscles and cause cardiac attack. All right. But let me just say this and not go too deep. There are several things in that clear fluid. Somebody would say, and you could say it to me, but when you were little, you got that too. But Sir Honeyghan, a little boy, I get juke, me no know what I go on. Not true. Yeah. But we get older. Can you then look at a person and say they're foolish because they got it when they were young? You can't use that argument. I am older now, and it behoves upon me to read, to think intelligently, and to make right decisions. At my adult stage, you can't use when I was young. And this might be controversial, but what I got when I was young is not what you would get today. But let's not dig too deep into that, because that would go into a lot of what some would call conspiracy theory, though I know there's much truth to many of things I could say. While we're being honest, some things we will have to leave, but I don't know if you got my... Let me tell you, Sir Honeyghan, sometimes I don't like saying yes and no, because that can leave misinterpretation. So when you ask me sometime what might seem a simple question, I might go into explaining, and I hope you get my answer from my explanation.
Absolutely. All right. Switching gears. I know that there's been controversy relatively recently with a particular young lady who would have joined the ministry that you have going on now, and there were some issues with her father. If you just break down that situation for me.
All right. So we're talking about Sister Gray, Daniel Gray from Montego Bay. I want to start out by saying I am an advocate for liberty of conscience, and I'm an advocate for people making decisions, and I started the podcast like that as they are convicted. I also believe that convictions can change, and when they change and people make new decisions, we have to be tolerant and be Christian enough to it might not be in our worldview, but just as our God is understanding and tolerates everyone to a certain degree, we have to do that even if we disagree. The young lady contacted me last year in about May. I wanna start here, Sir Honeyghan. Yes, I went to school. I did a degree. I did a degree at NCU before Present Truth, and I Present Truth came in my experience while doing the medical degree at UA.
Just for the listeners, Present Truth is the name of your current ministry?
No. Present Truth is a term we use. It's used in the Bible as well.
Okay.
To speak to any truth that's relevant to today. Okay. For example, if you speak about the flood, that would be precious truth. It happened already, and we can reference it, but it wouldn't be as relevant today as if we speak about the earth being destroyed by fire when God comes again. So that issue of the fire is present truth for today.
Yeah.
We can still speak about the flood with Noah. That's precious truth. It's truth, it happened, but what's important for now and what's coming. When I use the term present truth, that's what I mean.
Okay.
But my ministry, as this is a logo here, and that's following the Blueprint ministry.
Okay.
We use blueprint, very simple. You know, when you're building a house, you need a blueprint.
Yeah.
And if you don't follow it, the house will have some fault, right? So we use the term blueprint to mean all that God has said.
Okay.
Bible testimonies, we aim, we strive to follow it, and we are all Seventh-day Adventists, all right? We're all Seventh-day Adventists. So she contacted me. I don't know her. I never knew her before. I never met her before. So I just want to make that clear. I also want to make it clear. She contacted me with an already made up mind and just to hear my opinion. All right. I didn't encourage her to leave school. I didn't tell her to stop her studies. No. She made that decision on her own. She only called me to hear my view. And I told her, this is a personal decision. It's no decision I can make for anybody. That's between she and God. All right. So whether she decides to stay or to leave, it's not my decision. It's not the ministry's decision. And the ministry don't preach to people and tell them to stop them studies and stuff like that. We don't do that. All right. We preach the truth. We preach what's happening today. And people listen and people make their decisions. You follow me? So she called in May last year to say, you know, she's convicted that she needs to do the Lord's work. I said, okay. And, you know, she will no longer be continuing her law studies. So this is to be honest, right?
Yeah.
I honestly told her, I'm in med school and I'm going to finish because I'm nearly at the end. I said, if I was the truths that come on my mind and my conviction now, if I was like, say, just starting med school in year 1 or 2, med school takes 5 years, I would probably come to that decision to say, you know what, I'm going to stop. But I say, I've reached the end. I just have some final exam to do. I'm just going to finish. Where will I go after that? Will I go in the hospitals? Will I be working in this whole COVID thing? You know, I said, well, that's to be seen and to be known. I don't know about that yet, but at least I'll just finish this course. I said that to her, but her decision was that's what she's going to do. And I said, well, pray about it, talk about it. And she did mention, though, that she's fearful of telling her family. Remember, no, Dale, I don't know her. I've never met her at that time. I don't know what she meant when she said fearful of telling her family. I don't know her family dynamics. I just listened and I said, pray about it.
Yeah.
All right. She went ahead to tell her father of her decision. Now, Sir Dale, I understand his disappointment. Let me say that. Of course, look, if the man has not come to her conviction and he is a parent and he has worked hard and he has sent his daughter to law school and she has finished the first 3 years and has gotten a law degree, but she would need to do the next 2 years to be able to practice. Come on, the man is a proud parent. I understand his frustration, even though he vented on me and he called me Satan and all of those things. I'm not upset. I understand. I am looking through his view. And he has put a lot of anger on me that shouldn't be. But that's what happens when you lead a ministry and you'll get the blame sometimes. That's fine. I'm not upset with him. I understand. But Sir Dale, neither can I stir somebody against their conscience and their conviction. Neither can I, because his thing is basically be, she must finish school. And I understand. But if she come to the decision to say, boy, this is a decision she's going to make now. Sometimes parents don't agree. I think the best thing he could do, I told him, I said, well, I don't think I got the chance to tell him, but I had said to others that I think the best thing to do is try and support her. At least let's see what happens in a year. Anything could happen. But I guess he got upset. He made some videos. And then, you know what happened, Sir Dale? The thing happened in Montego Bay, the Kevin Smith thing. And I can tell you it's Satan alone set that up, because right after that happened came the articles about Sister Gray, and then we were started to feature as some cult. I can tell you Satan alone set that up. Let me tell you what I told her though. I said, Sister Gray, it is your responsibility to keep in contact with your parents. All right. So I want to make it clear for the record. If there's a breakdown in the relationship between herself and her parents, I don't support that. I told her her Christian duty is to try and stay in contact with them. Even if there's a disagreement, try to find a working way. Sir Dale, I can't come between that. It's between her and her parents. But I did my duty by encouraging her to stay in contact. Even if they disagree, as a Christian, try to have a working relationship, because they might not understand now. And I understand their stress. And I was even willing to go down there and to have a discussion and to mediate. You understand? But again, that didn't mature and materialize. But she left, and based on her conviction, she comes to the ministry, but it's not the ministry's responsibility. She's not our responsibility. In other words, she's being assisted, but it's not under the ministry. We have not taken that responsibility. It's not our responsibility. But she comes to church, and that's fine. Even Satan can visit the church. The church is open. You can visit. Anyone can visit. We are not a cult. It's open to anyone to visit, right? And she comes there and she has found comfort for being there. And that's quite fine. No problem. The responsibility of her now as an individual, that's not on the ministry. And we have not taken on that responsibility. So I want to make that very clear. All right. But she is there and she visits there, right, regularly, and she attends following the Blueprint Ministry Church. All right. But you know, I wish it could have gone otherwise. But I understand the bitter disappointment of the parents, but neither can I force her conviction otherwise. You know, I have to believe that, you know, people have to make their choice. You know, Sir Dale, even God gives us that. If you choose to walk into hell, God will not force you, but God will still continue to love you. And that's the challenge as human beings we are facing.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're disappointed. We don't have to agree, but we don't need to hate. We must continue to harbor a spirit of love, forgiveness. And that is what I'm pushing.
Everything that you're saying now is fair, and I agree with you. I was seeing this situation from a distance, and I saw you are speaking. I guess you're speaking. I'm not sure where you're speaking actually, but you're speaking on the situation. I just didn't feel that how you're addressing the situation came across like you really understood from his perspective. Everything you're saying now is like you can understand the disappointment. I don't remember the exact words you used when you're speaking, but it's you either said that he's mad or like crazy mad, or I don't remember what you described him as, but I just felt like, though I agree with you, she's an adult, she can make her own decisions. I didn't get the impression that you could actually, you know, understand where he may be coming from.
Well, let me say this on this program. Probably better words could be, not probably, better words could have been chosen. Because when you choose words that can leave a negative impression on any mind, then sometimes you have to think back. So let me say that here. I'll also say also, Sir Honeyghan, even though I don't really want to delve into it, but he made videos, but the videos were not true. Let me tell you why I said they weren't true. Honesty would be to give both sides. And he never spoke about how he called and he was loud and he called me Satan. He never spoke about that he threatened me and that he will find me wherever he is and I can report this to the police. He didn't speak any of those things in the video, and I thought that was very dishonest. That gave to the public a view. So in other words, I saw some of the videos and how he presented himself was not the person when he called me. But, you know, Brother Dale, situations like these are developing situations. You know that, right? And as you go on, sometimes you sit down and you do evaluation, you reevaluate, and you have to be honest and say, you know, you could have gone this way instead of that way. And I am open even right now. I'm talking to you. If he would be more calmer to have a discussion and to see a working way forward, I'm open to that. But I'm not sure of his mood right now, his mood. But I am open to that. Even though I was called names, that's all right. It's fine. I'm not offended by that. But his tone, I wanted to have discussion, but I was not allowed when he called and you know, it just went on and on. And honestly, I had to block him because he was abusive, you know, in his approach. So, you know, when I said that, it was on the heel of those behavior. But probably I could have said he acted very angry and upset than to say mad, because mad would indicate that, you know, probably his mind was not collective, or the better term would be, you know, angry and very upset and came off wrong and not mad in looking back. But this is me now today, weeks, months after speaking, as the situation had developed even further. And even looking back, and to be honest to say, you know, there could have been other approach to the situation, you know, and even today, I am open for discussion on it. And I am hoping that she also, the young lady, would be open to that as well with her parents. Disappointments will come, people will make different decisions, but we have to find the best way to work it out and not to leave with broken hearts, blood spilled, and no, that's not the way.
Yeah.
That's not the way, Sir Honeyghan. And I hope that there'll be a better end. As I say, things like these are continuously developing situations. No? Yeah.
All right, another topic, winding down. I've seen you post on holidays such as Christmas, right? Now, I here's where we can agree so that we don't have to flesh out what we agree on. So I think we know the origins of it. We know that it's not from Christian origin, so forth and so on. But I'll hearken to what Ellen G. White says in my reading, that it's not a time to be ignored, and that it can be used for good. When I see some of the things you said about it, I'm not sure those two ideas are synonymous. So talk to me about your view of Christmas.
Right, no problem. No problem. Well, I'm glad you asked it, because a post cannot be a paragraph or a chapter.
Sure.
It would be too long. And so, you know, I just drop things and stuff like that. So I want to thank you for asking about that. I know the quote, and it's coming from the book Adventist Home.
Yes.
And I'm very aware of it. And my ideas are in line. Now, when I'm speaking against like Seventh-day Adventists, obviously, Dale, I'm not speaking about the evangelism aspect of it. I'm not speaking about people using the time where people are thinking about Christ to really turn them to who Christ is on the cross. No. These are some things I'm speaking about. We don't need, let's take 3ABN. I see some things, and that's just promulgating and potentiating the false idea in people's head. Let's take 3ABN. Every year when the Christmas time come on, all 3ABN are sing with tree a light up behind them is he was born in a manger and stuff like that. Send the wrong idea upon people's head. Jesus wasn't born the 25th of December. These things are the problem. Tell the truth to the world that Jesus was not born. Give the truth, the history of it. And then you speak to the fact that people's hearts are more open and they can receive Christ. And so you give them. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with going out of our way. Notice I said going out of our way to make sure so we bake some cake. And they'll not just bake, we bake them black cake there, you know, we make sure so some touch of alcohol in it too, you know. And them thing them here talk about, brother. Proverbs 20 verse 1, don't even touch it when it's stirring at the cup, because at the end it sting it and bite it like a adder. That can lead, that you can interpret that last part of being even cirrhosis of the liver. Strong alcoholic drinkers. And someone say, but it's just a tip. But Dale, just a tip of sin is enough to cause it to be lost. We know the principle of it. Those are the things I'm talking about. Going out of our way to cook extra. Listen, we not talk about the facts. Say, look, you get a holiday, people now have to work, and family say, let's use the time and come together. We don't see family for a while and, you know, let's eat. That's not the issue. The issue about a man go eat all 3 plate and overeat, you break the law of temperance right there, because that goes along with the tradition of Christmas. Look here, me never born at the church, you know, brother. Me used to celebrate them thing there, you know. Me know how it look and when people really celebrate the festive and the Yuletide. Me know what it is, because me used to unite. So when me see it right throughout Seventh-day Adventism, we have to speak against it. Sir Dale, I'm not talking about evangelism. A them thing that we are talking about. When a person in a them own personal home, but out of them we have to string up them lights down them tree that we are talking about, man. Take that down. I run up your light bill for what? When a person pass by and see that, what goes through their mind? What kind of witness do you give? Let it be that you don't have that and a person pass and stop and say, so where you light them there? All right. Where you say, when I light them there, come make we talk now. That time you get the opportunity. You know why, Sir Dale? 1 Peter 2 verse 9 say we are peculiar. We are royal priesthood, a holy nation. You know what peculiar mean? You're different, you're unique. Look look here. Then if a man a pass through a scheme and see pure light and he might observe every house light up and you're in dark, and where you think I'll stand out to him? Man see all of the gate and the man stop and say, brother, where your Christmas light are? You say, we can talk a little. This is how you open up now and you give the evangelistic aspect. But not by joining and merging and go out. I them thing them you talk about. You talk about Christmas. Wait and see what go happen next month. Wait and see what go happen next month. And see if you know see people go to them way for put on red and white. And go all church in a red and white. And I talk about happy Valentine's and Sabbath whenever the time comes. And Merry Christmas and Sabbath. What are you talking about? No, happy Sabbath. Them things they're not necessary, sir deal. What the prophetess is talking about in Adventism is not that. She's saying use the time as an opportunity to evangelize because people's hearts are open to Jesus. All when them not in a Jesus. When December come, them talk about boy I was born in a manger. Let them know say not in a manger no more. And he's about to come back as King of Kings and to judge this world. And we need to get it right. We need to not think about Jesus in the manger, but it's Jesus in your heart. That is how you use the season. What me I deal with, sir, deal. Me not talk about that part that me agree with and me support. And the other part them me I talk about. Them part they need for go, brother.
All right, so two things, that's probably more than two things. But is it possible then that, is it possible, Virgin, that the way you express some of these things can be left to misinterpretation? Because I will see where you'll say, and I'm paraphrasing what you said, but like even this, like if I tell them about a season's greetings, then that'd be an issue. Like why would if this is a time where I'm using the time to witness, that means I'm acknowledging the time that I'm in. And if me, see my brother, I'm say I'm on season's greetings or whatever, and I use that as an opening, and possibly later on in the conversation I can witness, would that be an issue? So it's a two-part question. And the second part is what I opened with. Is it possible that the way that you're expressing these things can be easily misled? Because when I read the post where you post, it sounds like it should just be business as usual, nothing changed, nothing at all. And when I read Ellen G. White, she speaks about you can put up the Christmas tree in church and such and such. So talk to me about that.
All right, so good. Not Christmas tree in your house, So she speaks about that in that public forum, that you would now draw attention to it and use it as an evangelistic tool. You could have even talk about what the Christmas tree mean and them serving the God of the fir tree and stuff. These are the truths that ought to come out. Now, you create a scenario a while ago. Nothing wrong with that, sir. You have tact. You ever hear about tact?
Yeah.
A man say, boy, season greeting and the man open up same time.
Yeah.
And you say, boy, and you start do the gospel. Nothing can wrong with that, brother. And not that we are talking about. We are talking about the Seventh-day Adventists, 9 out of 10. As the time come, they it's a Merry Christmas. You think they must stop again our gospel? Some of them people that don't even like the evangelism. Them just say it for say it. All right, let's look at this. Let's look at this. Why on earth would you come to church? You stand on the pulpit. This is not somebody out the road where you want to witness to. And somebody will not understand that the whole way where stood the Seventh-day Adventists will know the truth about the thing. I stand on the pulpit and talk about Merry Christmas. Let me tell you something, man. I'm madness that. That is madness, brother. Worse like all the last one we're gone, where the 25th coincided with Sabbath. At them time, there's some people across the world must have come up in a Sabbath. Merry Christmas. What? Happy Sabbath. This is in the realms of church. And even, you know what I do? You know what I do, Sir Dale? Whenever that time comes around, I use the opportunity to tell people the truth about it. And I also try to balance it to say, you don't condemn and so on and so forth. And then I go hard on Seventh-day Adventists. The Seventh-day Adventists who are no evangelism and so, them inner the festivity, brother. Them inner it, brother.
But
if them could have dressed up like a elf or Santa, them do it, may I tell you?
All right, so let me ask this. So to me, the issues would be like the overspending, the overeating, like
everything that's connected to celebrating Christmas,
right?
In the true sense.
To me, what's wrong is what's wrong, and Christmas is not an excuse to do it, right?
All right.
To me, if me wear red on Christmas, wearing red in of itself is not wrong. So if I wear red on Christmas, I wouldn't see that as sinful. But
Right,
to
hold
me,
on.
the things that are wrong regardless. And then Christmas is not an excuse to do it. That's how I look at it.
All right, so watch me now. I like the part about the red. Let's work on that.
Okay.
You remember Paul say if you do anything and it causes a person to stumble, what you must do?
Okay, so what if it does not
So
cause anybody to stumble?
No, watch me now. In our Christmas time, the people that want to understand Christmas, all of them I think one way. In born on the 25th XYZ.
Sure.
When you in that, you tell the people them say, yeah man, believe that too, whether you believe it or not. Let's go from that. That's one. Number two, red in itself is not an issue. All right. But when you do it at a certain time, it sends the wrong connotation. That is a principle.
What connotation does it send? What connotation?
Several connotations it can send. Number one, you believe in the whole aspect of Christmas. When we say aspect of Christmas, let's go. We know the Christmas that said Jesus born on the 25th. We can't go around that. All right. And we know that that's not true. Once you show that, you send that in a person's mind, say that you believe, whether you discuss that or not, the common man way out there, that them believe, and the world, that them believe.
But couldn't you say the same thing would apply to the if we put up a Christmas tree in church? Wouldn't we be able to...
Follow me now. No, hold on. Watch me now. You notice what I said about that? What did I say about it? I say you use that no as I never use the term object lesson, but I said you tell the truth about it. I could be presenting on Christmas, have a Christmas tree on the platform, and start use it and show you what it mean, XYZ, So you're going to use it because you see when Ellen White, right? I want you to get the total picture that the prophetess is presenting. She's presenting what you use that time to do. And you know she really deal with evangelism. Good. Right. So watch me now, Sir Dale. If you just left it in your house and you put up your thing and so, you don't send an impression, But when you have it in a public situation, as she referenced at church, you're going to do it that now? You're going to use that as a lesson, as a teaching point to teach the children, bring them to it, and teach them X, Y, Z, and so forth and so on. You can't even talk about the birth of Christ, but if you talk about the birth of Christ, you must make it evidently clear that it's not the 25th and we don't know. Because what we are doing, brother, truth we are teach people, Sir Dale, singing the song that Christ was born in a manger. Is that true?
Yes.
When you sing that on the 25th and make the effort to sing that, tell me where you can send to minds where don't understand the truth about it.
All right, so what if, because in my church, and based on my experience, they would sing those hymns on the 25th, but it would also be said that, as you said, just a teaching moment, it would also be said that we believe that he was not born at this time, but the world celebrates it this time, yada, yada, yada. So for me, it kind of goes in line with the whole Christmas tree aspect where we're not ignoring the day, we're using the day, we're doing God's work on the day, but we'd still educate and clear up any misconceptions that can happen. That's how
no problem. That is in line. But what I am hitting out against is the general thing. So you talk about your church, but you already know that doesn't go for every church. I want a church where I reference Seventh-day Adventist Church. Okay. So you see, when I speak, I'm dealing with the world church. I'm dealing with the general temperature in Seventh-day Adventism. All right. As I say, and I can agree with you that it's possible, very much possible, that sometimes one can get a wrong impression. One of the things though, Sir Dale, is that sometimes people judge what you say based on what they think they know you to be. So some person might see me and say, boy, I like it unloving, like it this, like it that. So them have that in their mind. So me make a post, it'll always be read under that worldview, under that scope.
Right.
You follow me, I say to you? So you see, I agreed to come here this afternoon because we just a reason.
Yeah.
State your point, I understand, we're not debate. We not do debates. If this was a debating platform, I wouldn't be here. All right. I stated my points. It don't mean that you have to agree to everything I say, and that's okay. Yeah. You stating your point don't mean I have to agree, but we can reason, brother. And you put your thing out there, and people listen, and they make their conclusion. Absolutely. That is what it is. It's called freedom of conscience, liberty, right? People are free to choose. But here's what I believe. We must get the facts, we must get the truth, and we must be informed to make informed decisions. Why? We can misjudge. And when we misjudge, we put a sin against our name in the books of heaven.
Okay.
And I am grossly misjudged. I don't let that bother me, but that's all right. You know why I can see a person and know that they're against me, but I still say hi to them? Because I don't have them in my heart. But when me I say hi, I see the look on them face and know say them not really with me. But me all right. Because guess what? Me cool. Yeah, mash up yourself because God see and read every heart. So we have to look on the thing, brother, and line up the thing properly. So I want it to be clear with the Christmas issue that what you're stating, re-evangelism and stuff, all for that, definitely. What I am dealing with when I'm hitting out is not that. It is the other things. It is the galavan, the festivity, the this, the that, just. And I remember, I tell you again, another season come up, Valentine's. And you're going to see what go on.
I guess the only disagreement is I don't have a problem with the things that acknowledge the day if the things in and of themselves aren't sinful. That's just me personally. So if I'm on Christmas, if Christmas Day is a Sabbath, or even just Christmas Day, whenever, if I'm want to wear him green and him red, just in acknowledgement of the day, to me, that's not a problem. To me, what is a problem is if you're going to do the overeating or the overspending or the things that in of themselves are wrong. Just don't do them any time of the year. That's for me, personally.
I can see where you're coming from. But while you're talking, something keep ringing in my head, and I'll mention it. There's something called creeping compromise.
Okay.
And the church is at a very bad place today. It's at the lowest ebb spiritually, Adventism across the world, but we never got here overnight. It started all the way in the 50s and even before. And it's every time a little thing that's not a problem. It's cool, and it just keeps opening the door wider and wider. And something else come in my mind. There are many persons, Sir Dale, that are better Christians than many Adventists, and they are not Adventists. They are Sunday worshippers. But God still have a problem. As much as they're doing many things, it's still something that God says, my day of worship is this. And we're just going against his command. And I cannot deviate from the origin. And we can't change the origin. And we know the origin of Valentine, the Mother's Day, the this, the that. I don't personally sit on edge, waiting on these days to attack people. You know what I want? I want people to wake up. And you probably are waking concerning this and have an understanding. But Sir Dale, there are many people that don't understand. Many of us are leading people down the wrong path by our overt behaviors and our open behaviors. And I don't think many of us have paused at a conscious level and to think as a Christian what it means to be a witness. Sometimes I don't say I do something wrong, but sometimes I wait to leave another man to think. The impression it leaves on a mind, and God will judge us for that. To be a Christian is to be a witness to Christ. That's what the word Christian came from. They were first called Christian in Antioch. This is in the book of Acts. And it's coming from the word Christ. And Christ didn't do anything at all that left wrong impression on a man's mind. He tried to stay on his Father's will all the time. And so, I think we should try and follow in that stead. We are to be a witness in the world. We are to be peculiar and particular. And we must lead people to that truth that people don't know. When I came in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, remember, I have no religious background, so much, You don't understand the joy it felt to me. I never know nothing about a Christmas thing, brother. You don't understand the joy it felt when we start learning them truths. They come and never have the slightest clue. I don't know no background or nothing. I just born come to the world. And all me know me love Christmas because man, me eat. And you know them time there. You eat, you hammer your French fried chicken. You know a thing, but you don't have no truth and you play as a child and do all them things down there. Man, you look forward, you string up the thing them and you pay the extra light bill January. All sort of thing. But when the truth comes, the Bible says in John 8, verse 32, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. You know what is my purpose? I want people to know the truth too. They will decide if they will accept it or not. That's not my responsibility. but I want them to know the truth and make their decision after that. I don't want to know say people don't really know. If you want to know and still want to do your thing, me good, me do my part already. You have a freedom of choice. You follow me?
Yeah.
But we ought to let people know. Because only people don't really know. And that may I say.
Okay. So I asked this a little earlier, but I asked it more generally. I guess this is my last, possibly my last thing I want to ask, because it comes back to how you may express some of the things that you express, right? Because you said Jesus never do nothing where would leave a negative impact on a person. I feel like sometimes, not every time, because I'll see where you'll post on the Sabbath and a happy Sabbath and a positive message and all those. So I'm not ignoring those at all. And this whole conversation was very reasonable, thoughtful. I don't know you well as a person. I don't know how you are when you're hanging with your friends. So this is not a characterization of you. It's just for the person who may just come across some of the things that you may post. Is it possible that it may leave an impression of more of a spirit of criticism than a spirit of love? I feel like some of the ways how you may express some things, it may look like purely criticism. And now when a person is to be, sin is to be called out, right? But I feel like the way how it's done sometimes is not done optimally. What would you say towards that?
All right. Thank you for that question statement. You must have known that for the years I'm doing this work and preaching, those questions and thoughts have come across me and from several persons. And many times, I will be honest, it has caused me in my quiet moments, in my own room, me and the Lord, to ponder on it and wonder if there's another way and so forth and so on. But this is one of the things that the Lord has shown me. We are living in a very sensitive age. That's number one. Number two, we're living in an age that people don't want truth any at all. Number three, we're living in an age that many sins have been normalized. And how can you be deemed really loving without being compromising? And you speak about Jesus, and I said it and you reference it, and that's true. But there are many things that we have to take into consideration. It was the same loving Jesus that said to the leaders that they were whitewashed sepulchres. What Jesus was saying was that they look good on the outside, but they're filled with dead man bone. One of the most harshest statements I've ever seen in scripture, you can find it in John 8. Jesus was talking to the leaders, and he said to them, you think you are Abraham's children. And he said, but you're children of Satan. Anytime you get the chance, Sir Dale, you can go back and review John 8, and you'll see that conversation. When I looked at it from every angle, I said, man, this is rough. Jesus, I call him so a Satan pitney. But the truth about it was that it was the truth. They were there professing religion, but at the same time plotting to kill him. And that's really the acts of Satan. Now you might say, but you don't know people's hearts, Sir Lecky. And I would say that's true. But I judge no man and I call no name, but I make general statements that if you look on them and some of the things you ask me about Christmas and you hear my stance, you would see that the truth is, it's really just truth laid down. You might say, probably I could use other words. And I would say, boy, probably it's just my personality. But in all truth, I set out to do no harm to no man. But I will tell you this, Sir Dale. If I tone down my words, but still maintain the truth, I would still offend many. Offend more than to call some. I'll tell you why. Because truth today is not popular. Truth today is not accepted. And that's for every 9 out of 10. I might be exaggerating to get my point home. And you say you don't know me, and I understand that's true. We have never dwelt, and people who know me, they understand and say, no, man. And if you talk to really people, they'll tell us, no, man, Lecky nice, that. But Sir Dale, you know, I'm just a young man. I came in the church at age 16, and now I'm 34. Still young, I'm at my prime. I could be out there doing so many things. But let me tell you something. We have nothing else left, you know. We have truth and we have error. We have God and we have Satan and we have hell and heaven and everything in between. There's nothing else left. It's not difficult. You're either going to choose one or the other. And this is my philosophy. If I'm going to hell, I'm going to go in style. Do all that I can and enjoy as much as I can in the world. But if I'm going to heaven, there's no middle ground and no mix up and blender. It's the straight path. Now, have I reached perfection? No, I'm still striving. But does that mean that we lower the standard? We have to keep it high. And I apologize for anyone that might feel sensitive and offended. It's not my motive. But man, when you look around and all the mess, and it's like nobody else saying anything. When you look at John, you know, in the wilderness, you know, John was stern, you know. You know, John was there and the man come, the king come and sleep with his brother's wife, and John couldn't hold it back. I mean, today, let me tell you what I would say today. Would I say, boy, John could have just easy, you know. Wait till him see the man one away. You understand what I'm saying? And tell him, say, my youth, you have to stop with that. But John deal with the public sin publicly. Sir Dale, you'll never see me come on Facebook or so and call nobody name and talk about private things happening at them home, even though I might know things. I'm not going to do that. Because I go by principle. When the church I do certain things openly out there, LGBT and them things, and it out there on the news, we're going to deal with it publicly. Because it's a public thing. But if me I have a private talk, and I can't go with the brother, because that's a breaking principle. That means I'm really out to destroy you as a person and not to save you. But public things must be dealt with publicly. But I'll say this now. The best thing people can do if they think I'm so hateful and no love, and you know, the best thing they can do is pray for me. And I pray for them. And if this is, I tell you one thing, if this is the truth, I will change, because I've made up my mind to make it to heaven. But I tell you one more thing, if this is not the case, and I am on the bandwagon and on the path as God would have it, I will not change one bit, but continue forward, unflinching and not looking back. Though I have no man standing with me, Christ is enough. Christ is enough. So that's Lecky in a nutshell on these points, and I've been as honest as I could, sir.
Yeah, man. So, I appreciate you coming on. I really wanted to have this conversation. I appreciate your perspective and hearing. You know, as you said, a post isn't a whole paragraph and thing. So what there's just me, and this is for you and God to pray about it. I just feel like the intention always has, I'm not saying you don't think about the intention. I'm just thinking the intention always has to be considered. And if we're trying to call out something, or if we actually want change, behavior to change. And so that's just something I always think about whenever I'm going to address something. And I'm pretty sure you would think about that as well. So yeah, man, that's just something for us all to keep in mind when we're
food for thought. That's fine, because we are all a work in progress. And if I believe at this moment that I have reached, then it really means I have not reached. So I listen, and I listen to you. I take what you just said. We're all a work in progress. And once we are at that stage and that humility of mind, God's work will be finishing us. So you know, all the best. Thank you again for the platform.
Yes,
may the Lord also bless you, Sir Dale, in your endeavors as you move forward. And the goal, I believe, you, me, and many of us, is really to be saved. But we'll only be saved one way, and that is by God's command. And I pray that even if it's hard, all of us struggle with different things. Even if it's difficult, we will at least be willing to submit. And once we are there, God's work will be finishing us, and we will all reach where we ought to reach. You know?
Absolutely. Lecky, thanks again for coming on.
Bless you, man. Bless you.
Yeah, man. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, sir. It's another episode